Wonderful. Okay. We are live and presumably have no viewers yet, but that's okay. Um, so, welcome to the Young Greens Senate Quarterly Q&A. This is a thing that we do every quarter, 4 times in the election year. And the aim of it is to try and make what the Young Greens Senate does more transparent, more accountable to members, and more engaging. Um, I'm Tom Belotho. I'm chair of Structures and Procedures Committee, which oversees all the various elections processes, accountability structures, etc. in the Young Greens. And we'll just go around and introduce ourselves. So just say who you are, which region, and where exactly you're from, what you do, that kind of thing. And I'll just go on my screen and start with Ramona.
Hello, my name is Ramona Sharples and I am co-chair of the Wales Young Greens. And I can't remember what else I was supposed to say. I think that's it.
That does fine. Fab, thank you. Emma?
Hello, I'm Emma, co-convener for the North East, and I'm from Sunderland.
Great, thank you. David? David? I'm not sure where David's gone, so we'll just go to Aaron.
EC and
I think Aaron might have cut out as well. I'm not sure. I can't hear anything, which is slightly worrying.
oh, I thought you got out. Sorry.
No. No. Did you say your introduction or not?
I'll do it again, just in case. I'm Aaron. I'm Senate co-chair on the Executive Committee, and I'm from London Region.
Fabulous, thank you. And Dom.
Hi, I'm Dom. I'm co-convener South East Young Greens. I'm currently talking from the NUS conference, so hopefully you can hear me okay.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, we can hear you fine. Fabulous. Okay, the first question that I've got is, what has been your focus since you were elected? And I'd ask you to not talk about the general election because we'll cover that in another question. So what has been your focus other than, like, admittedly the biggest event of the political calendar at the moment? We will start with Emma.
So this is like my first time in a role like this, and I really wanted to do a good job for the North East. So far, I've done plan for an event. We had the event, which was like a conference type panel discussion. We haven't made any groups yet, but the focus for me was just getting really stuck into the role, and I believe I'm doing that at the moment.
Great, thank you, Emma. David, if you're there. I couldn't actually hear David. I'm not sure if other people could. So we'll just move on to Ramona.
Hi. So, previous to me, there was just one person who's co-convener of Wales, and he obviously did most of the work due to that. So this year for me has been really trying to like take on more responsibilities from him because he has a lot of other commitments to the party, and I feel like I've done that just in a way of like attending all the Senate meetings I can and contributing to that way. Like rather than now just going to committee meetings, I've started organising, writing the agendas for and minuting. And in terms of stuff like the Young Greens action days, because he's been too busy, I've been trying as much as I can to be like sort of the main organizer and point of contact for that, which I feel like I'm doing okay at. So yeah, for me, it's just been trying to like fill my role a bit more and, you know, learn as I'm doing it, I guess.
Amazing, thank you. I think we have David back.
Is it working now?
Yeah, it is. Wonderful.
Good.
So go ahead.
Personally, I haven't done that much. I've turned up to stuff. I organised our conference meal for London and the South East. That's about it, really, to be honest.
Wonderful, thank you. And Dom.
Yeah, so our priority since we were elected, myself and Rosie, in February, has been rebuilding the group around the region, basically. The group's been inactive for the last couple of years, and so it's about rebuilding that network. It's about having a presence at demos, actions in the region. We've been trying to rebuild the network around action days taking place for the local elections. And we have managed to reach out to local members in especially Brighton and Oxford, which are the main parts of the region. We've managed to co-opt a member of the committee, but we're still, Rosie's been doing a lot of phone banking this week, trying to reach out and find disparate Young Greens from around the region. But that's our main priority at the moment, rebuilding and getting a network together.
Fab, thank you. And Aaron, if you want to kind of give an overview of Senate, maybe members who aren't here as well, kind of represent what they've been doing, if possible, and Senate just broadly.
I'm not going to speak for the people who aren't here, but Senate broadly have mainly been focusing on the Spring Action Day. So that's going to kick up on this Saturday. That's for local elections. I've been working on that since probably December. And everyone else has been working on it for a good few months now. And we've been really successful in that every single region and Wales have one action day. And in fact, Wales has two, which is really exciting. We've also had a few AGMs. We've had a few turnarounds from co-conveners and stuff. And I think we've created a more supportive environment where we've got to know, especially at conference. And we've also had the conference socials as well, which were actually a really big success.
Great, thank you. And that is everyone. The next question I have is, what are you doing to support Young Greens in particular in the general election? And we will start off with, let's go with Dom.
Was that question about the general election?
Yep, so what are you doing to support Young Greens in the general election?
Yeah, okay, so obviously the priority in the South East is retaining Caroline's seat in Brighton. We're going to be supporting the two Young Greens action weekends coming up in Brighton on the 6th and 7th of April, and I think 27th, 28th of April. So that's our main priority, and making sure we get as big a turnout from around the region as we possibly can for that. I'll also be working with students from Caroline in Brighton, running stalls on Brighton University campus and Sussex University campus. Obviously the student vote really important in retaining Caroline's seat, and I'm currently in contact with members of the executive of the student union of those two universities. Encouraging Young Greens to stand, that's something I've been doing today, so I've been emailing 5 or 6 Young Greens who have expressed an interest in standing in the general election in vacant constituencies. Really positive response actually about that, so I'll be in constant communication with them. Sourcing crash space in Brighton is really important as well, because lots of activists will be coming down that will need crash space. And just generally giving support to volunteers. Obviously, calling an election with 8 weeks from when the election's being held puts an awful lot of pressure on volunteers. So my role is going to be supporting them and making sure that they're okay with their workload, basically.
Great, thank you. Ramona?
Hi. Yeah, we haven't actually had any Senate meetings since the general election was announced, so we haven't really had a lot of time to discuss this. But I think generally, like, the Green Party in Wales has always been like quite minuscule, and in terms of like even with the local council elections, the only Young Greens that were standing that we knew, there was only 2 of them, and they're kind of both on our committee. So in terms of actually like Young Greens standing within the nation, I'm not sure there even are any for us to support. Although from now on, obviously, it's stuff like we would be relaying things like obviously Kat Driscoll has been like amazing in reaching out to all the Young Green standings, just like relaying her messages to all like our members and people on our social media, so that if there are any Young Greens, they have access to like those sort of higher helpful areas, I guess.
Fabulous, thank you, Ramona. Emma?
Yeah, so we had a regional meeting for the Northeast, not Young Greens, but like other Greens. And there's a guy standing in Middlesbrough. Now, Middlesbrough hasn't really got I don't know what the word is, but a party set up yet. But this guy is going to stand, and I think he's a Young Green, so I'm going to try and get in touch with him. Michael was at this meeting as well, so Michael knows who he is. Michael's the other co-convener. And Michael and I were hoping to stand, but Michael's not standing, and neither am I. But I mean, we've got the county elections. Obviously, Sarah Thin, she's a Young Green, and she's doing that. But yeah, so I think we'll try and find out who's standing as well as this guy in Middlesbrough.
Great, thank you. David?
Yep.
Oh, fab.
London, we've got a committee meeting tomorrow where I think we'll be discussing stuff a bit more. We've discussed a few things. We're going to obviously encourage people to go down to the main action weekends in Brighton and Bristol. And I'm not sure exactly which. I think there's definitely going to be a few Young Greens standing. I'm not exactly sure who yet, but I know one of our co-chairs is missing the committee meeting tomorrow because they're going to be. They've put in a candidate statement, but I don't know if they're going to be selected to stand or not for their local party. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And Aaron?
Yes, so we had a Senate meeting last week. Haphazard meeting. We were kind of like, gosh, what are we going to do? We kind of had to decide a strategy. And between everyone in the Senate, we kind of decided that we would focus our efforts, or like, we agreed that Young Greens should focus efforts on Bristol and Brighton, and like our resources, as opposed to like all the other target wards as well. We, like, Young Greens would prioritise these two. So it means the EC have come up with 4 action days, 2 in Brighton, 2 in Bristol. In addition, we've got the action day. Some of the action days are now supporting general election candidates instead of like elections for next year. So, for instance, in York, their election to be moved, all the local election to be moved to June. In London, general election candidate, and launching the new general election candidate. And in Bristol now that like everything's go for Molly, basically, as opposed to just the Metro Mayor. So it's become quite convenient for some regions. Yeah, in terms of like Young Green standing, just wanted to quickly pick up David. There's a Young Green who's standing in Stoke Newington, which is quite cool. And yeah, obviously we'll be making videos for general election, but in the meantime we've still got local elections, which is what we're pushing before the Spring Action Day.
Thank you, Aaron. For anyone who is watching, you may submit questions by emailing spcchair@younggreens.org.uk or by posting in the Facebook event. So the last question that I've got on my list is, what are you going to do to increase membership engagement? And this can be kind of plans for the rest of your year as well, or the rest of your term even. But yeah, what plans do you have for increasing membership engagement? And I will go to David first.
Yes, I'd say the main thing we do in terms of membership engagement is we try and do phone banking kind of every few months. So calling up all the new members, encouraging them to come along to whatever event we've got kind of coming up. We also just try and run lots of socials as well, because they're a really good way of getting people to get involved in a kind of more casual way. So this is, each region is going to have their own event, I think, because this is part of the spring. This is part of the Ed Balls Day social, but we're doing a bowling thing, for example. Yeah, that's our main thing, really.
Great, thank you. Ramona?
So Wales Young Greens are kind of still pretty new and young, but I think in like, obviously we're being like led by Senate to have like the Ed Balls Day socials and Spring Action Days, which are really great. And with that, I think it's just come a general feeling that we need to up our social media presence. And I think we have been doing that actually as a group, like showing our responsibility more and getting ourselves a bit more. So like small steps, but I think it is working. And like in terms of the socials, we've only ever tried to have one social before and we didn't get the membership up. So if the Ed Balls Day social works, then we'll obviously learn from that and be able to do more again. I really like this phone banking idea. I think we need to be doing that call out to membership more often. We did agree that we'd have like, because our committee is quite small and we're quite localized, like an actual meetup where we would sort of set a plan up for the rest of the year, like a long-term plan with like targets to aim for. So like a big part of that will just be like gaining knowledge of members and trying to like draw in active members via like social media contact, phone back in, successful socials probably. And then there's just little things which will hopefully get Young Greens in Wales riled, is like the like we don't need very many petition signatures in Wales to get like policies put forward for debate in the Welsh Assemblies, and things like votes at 16. We could like Sam's been talking to us about really taking ownership over that issue, and there are already like Welsh AMs that are willing to support us. So there's things like that which will hopefully really draw people in.
Amazing, thank you. Emma?
Yeah, so when we had our first event in Sunderland, we took like people's email addresses and stuff to let them know about like other events, but we didn't really have many young Greens attend the event, the more older Greens. But obviously we've got the Spring Action Day. Michael and Caitlin, who on the committee, they've been dealing with that. So, and we're just finding young Greens like dotted around, like in Sunderland, Middlesbrough, when we attend events and stuff. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Dom.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Because I didn't quite catch it. It's quite loud.
Sure. So how are you going to increase membership engagement in your region over the coming months of your term?
Sure. Okay. So obviously, because of what an important strategic area of the South East is in the general election, this is a really good opportunity for us. We've had lots of Young Greens coming out of the woodwork in the last week or so, and we're talking to lots of people about that. So that's really promising. In the longer term, me and Rosie's plan, which hopefully won't be too derailed by the general election, is to organise a campaigning weekend. Hopefully early summer, sometime in June, somewhere around the region, or possibly early July, where we can have talks, where we can get lots of local Young Greens around the table and discuss which campaigns they would like to go forward with in September at the Freshers' Fair. So whether that's supporting People Not Numbers, whether that's the Save the Bees campaign, maybe whether that's something about fossil fuel divestment. And the other thing is having a really visible and strong presence at local demos around the region. And such as today here at the NUS conference, lots of people have been coming up to us and saying that they're really interested in the Green Party but don't know how to get involved. By having that presence means that it's a really effective way of mobilising people.
Amazing, thank you. And the last question to Aaron, I'll slightly change it for you, which is, what do you see for the direction of Senate for the second half of the year? What direction do you think things should be going in? What do you hope to see in 6 months' time?
So up until now, we've been really focused on the May elections and supporting candidates and target parties with us, and then hopefully the more skills, more volunteers, and that's kind of what the aim has been so far. We haven't really discussed it since the election. Everything's going to be all on that. Afterwards, we will have the team residential, which is really exciting, and hopefully we'll all be able to get together at the team residential and plan some more like strategy for like the oncoming years, because I think we were all thinking like this would be like the middle of the lull between general elections, and now we've got going to have another 5 years, so we've really got to think about the long term now, as well as like skills and training and stuff like that. Membership retention is going to be a big thing as well. But there's a lot to think about, and I think that's a discussion for the next Senate meeting, and probably more actually, the one after that.
Wonderful, thank you, Aaron. I think that is more or less a wrap. I will end by saying that any member can contact their respective regional co-conveners through the respective regional Facebook pages or email addresses, which will be the region, then at younggreens.org.uk. Or if you need a point in that direction, or just in general about Young Greens transparency and accountability, you can email spcchair@younggreens.org.uk. And I think that is it. So thank you all very much.